about to put the third coat on, which is pretty exciting. So I'm going to do 3 coats of the black and then 3 coats of the clear. I'm happy with how this is coming up at the moment. It feels really good. For those who want to know, it's just a black acrylic paint, and then there'll be a clear coat going over the top of it. So 2 separate, not single stage. It's a 2-stage paint process. The black is showing up a few more of the, I guess, character marks, stories underneath. But I'm not fussed about that. It's not really going to be seen. It's going to be upside down or the right way up as we look at it for the rest of its life, hopefully. So I'm going to get 1 more coat on here now, which will be the 3rd coat of black, like I said, and then from there I'll start putting on the clear. So let's get into it. So I'm about to put on the start putting on the clear coats. The first base coat of black that I put on this was using an acrylic solvent thinner. Now that was what I was advised to use, which I didn't feel comfortable with because it was different to what I'd used in the past. And I used that for the engine bay as well. I actually don't think that that thinner worked as well as what the all-purpose thinners does. It's designed for acrylic and enamel. I just think that the new one that I've got, which I'll show you a photo of in a second, bought it myself, it's not sponsored, it works better when mixing the paint. It just mixes better. The thinner and the paint come together as one a lot smoother. It's a lot more silky smooth. So I'll just grab the tin now and I'll show you what I used, and I'll start putting on the clear. So that was the thinners that I was using, just solvent based, smooth gloss, works really, really well. Alright, so 3 coats of clear on top of 3 coats of black. I'm looking forward at the results of this to see how it turns out. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to turn out, to be perfectly honest. I can see it starting to flash off in some areas. So like the front half of the ski, I particularly did a slightly heavier run through the middle, but the front half of the ski is still a little bit wet. The back half is blotchy and like some spots have flashed off, other spots are a bit wet through here. So what I'm going to do now is, firstly, get out of here because it absolutely stinks of clear and paint, but that's okay. Is let this cure for the night, come back tomorrow morning. My anticipation with this is that I'll have to do a bit of polishing to get it to shine, which I'm actually super excited about. I reckon it's going to look pretty cool once it's polished. So run over it all, give it a really good buff and a polish. Hopefully it comes up really slick. I'll be super stoked if it comes up really slick and glossy. If it comes up 3/4 glossy, I'll be happy with that as well. But I'd be super stoked if it comes up like glassy. That's what I'm aiming for. So we're going to do a bit of a flux capacitor here. Next time you see me will be tomorrow, but obviously for me it'll be another night's sleep. So let's let this dry off, and tomorrow we'll come back, have a look at it, and see how it has dried, and we'll get into polishing, flipping it over, and attacking the hood and the main arm. So like I said, let's get into it. Someone asked me in one of the videos the other day about the kind of gear that I use. I can't remember which video it was, but I thought I might just do a bit of an explanation of what I use in each video, just so people know. So this is a Chicago silent air compressor, which basically means that you can talk over it when it's running. It's a fantastic compressor. It's 70 litre capacity. It easily does. I can run the air blowout gun at 110 psi, and it keeps up with that easy. It's aluminium, so there's no rust. It's oil free. It's an absolutely. It's got twin engines, so I can either have one running or both. I just always have both. I believe in more is better. The only thing that's gone wrong with this, which was my fault, was the pressure selector. Sorry, this hose is just going to get in the way. Pressure selector here, I accidentally broke that off because that's a lift and turn rather than just brute force turn, so I broke that off, but that wasn't the fault of the compressor. That was my fault. But apart from that, it's been absolutely fantastic compressor. Bit of water build up in there. Always good to clear the water out of your compressor, but like I said, being aluminium, won't rust even if it does have water in it. So that's the compressor that I use to do most of my work, and I've got a 30 meter hose in here, not that I need it, but a 30 meter work hose. That's the compressor. I'll show you the spray gun. So this is the spray gun that I've been using. Had quite good life out of this. It's a Chicago spray gun. There are much more expensive guns on the market. I like this. The ergonomics are good, and it matches up with obviously the compressor. Like you can see there, it runs at maximum 45 psi. I run this at about 37 to 38 psi. It's got really good spray. I think it sprays up to about 250 mil, or 10 inches spray pattern or a fan, and you can pull it right down as well. 1.4 mil nozzle in this, which I find for me works really well. It's just a really good lightweight gun. It's got a 600 milliliter reservoir on top as well, so gravity fed, works well. Cleaning's not that hard on it. Very simple controls, pattern, so fan to spot for this one here. Sorry, I'll try and do this with one hand. This adjustment here is your air versus paint, so the further out that is, the more product you get coming through your nozzle, and then just air pressure down here on the bottom, so that's just adjustable on the fly as well. So good gear. I get my money's worth out of stuff, so if you're looking for something good, Chicago or the like. I think this gun was about I'm sure I'll get corrected in the comments, but I think it's about 80 Australian dollars or 100 Australian dollars for this particular gun, but well worth it, and I've done a lot of painting with it so far. And that compressor that I spoke about earlier, those compressors are about 1,300 Australian dollars, but a bit of investment, but I guess it's one of those things that you'll always get your money's worth out of things if you look after them. as you can see, clears, buffed. It came up pretty good, to be honest, for a paint job that's been done in a shed. Which, not saying you can't do a good paint job in a shed, but obviously you have environmental factors which come into it. But you know what? For what it's going to be, I'm really happy with it. I'm stoked. You would have seen there were some areas at the start before I buffed it that were a bit hazy, and other areas were already sort of that wet look shiny. That's just caused by, again, the environmental factors of the hull of the boat, potential moisture content, all that sort of stuff. So it's been buffed over, as you saw, and then I just hit it with a detail spray just to tidy up any sort of leftover polish. So I am going to do the whole thing again, but I have to flip this ski over because we're running out of time, as you know, the deadline I mentioned in the last video. So I'm super stoked. It's come up really well. Being black, you can see the previous character marks in it, as I've said before, which is fine. I'm cool with that. Fingers crossed, most of the time this is going to be in the water, not this way up. So that's going to be it for the bottom side. Going to flip it now, start working on the top side, and you'll see what I've got in store for that. You would have seen me a little bit earlier on before I was buffing. I was doing a bit of work on the hood, so that'll be the next little step. We'll start doing some work on the hood and get that finished and keep forging forward. All right, let's go.